All right, I got this ram in the shop, and through looking it over, found that 3 of the wheels, the calipers are froze. So I have parts here and here and back here, because the only wheel that's free is the driver's side rear on this side. So I'm going to put calipers, rotors, and pads all the way around this truck. And we start right now. Real good news about this truck. It looks like all these lugs were torqued at exactly the right. Alright, I'm taking the bolts out of the caliper holder. That one's out. I'm just going to run it back in because I still have to work on the caliper a little bit. And I want it to hold a little. Now, let's see if we can get this upper one out. I can't get the driver on it, so we're going to try our big breaker bar. Let's see what we get. Looks like it's going to come. You'll notice I don't have my 1/2-inch ratchet. Seems like it's been misplaced, and I don't know where it is, but I will find it. Okay, we know that's going to come out. So now we need to drop the caliper off here and get rid of that. And we'll hang it up for now and get everything ready. These bolts are loose. They weren't super tight. Let's get those out next. And then we got to fight the caliper out. I've got my wire over here ready to hang it on, because even though I'm putting brand new calipers and everything on, I want to clean this good before I even take it out. Those 2 are out. So the caliper's ready to come out. So let's clean up our block and get that ready to come off. And then I can plug that with my handy dandy little sponger. Right now I'm going to see if I can pop this block loose from the caliper and then plug it with my sponge. Yep, came right out. So let's see. There it comes. And it doesn't look real good, but I think we can clean that up and get that working. Throw down some of my brake fluid soaked rags here. Soak that up. All right, now it's time to wrestle this caliper out. All right, since I'm putting a new caliper holder on here, I decided it wasn't worth wrestling the caliper out of this one. I'll send it back the way it is. Now we got to get this cleaned up. That looks pretty good. Now these are the little bolt parts that are under this boot. They are lubricated with silicone-based brake lubricant. And you don't want to pull those out. You don't want to do anything to them. You just want to lay it aside. And I just took those bolts out. They were loose because they package them that way. Now these bolts, you'll notice, have Loctite on them. Now that Loctite is not activated yet, but when I put this all back together and put it on the truck and the heat from the calipers and the rotors kick in, this Loctite will keep everything from coming apart. So now I need to get out my silicone lubricant, and I need to get these pads mounted on this to get ready to put on the truck. Okay, the first step that we have to do when we get ready to reinstall this is put this on like this and just hold it there. Get out your brake cleaner and hose this off. Because these rotors are shipped with crap on them to protect them. And you can see it coming off. And then what I do is I take a super clean rag and I wipe these down. And I just do that. Now, very carefully, turn it over. I'm going to very carefully set this rotor over here. Face up so it's clean, nothing's on it. Brake silicone, it's a ceramic fortified grease that's made for brakes. And you put a dab and a dab and a dab, and you just work that in with your finger. And what this does is it keeps your rotor from seizing on to your hub. And I don't touch this surface because we just did it. Now we put this on. And what I do, one of these guys on, and you hose off this side. And get all the crap off. Now I'm going to hit this again. And then we'll get our other pieces over here and we'll get this job done. Now these pads have a protective coating on them as well. These clips go on this way and they come in from the outside on that. And what that does is it springs and it tries to help keep this pad from constant contact with the rotor. This side slips down in here and goes this way and does the same thing. So now I need to get silicone on these moving parts here and then put this on the truck. I have found that it is better to just put some on the rail, like that and like that. And don't get it on your pads at all. Now if you want, you could do this too. You can take a little squirt and put it on there, and a little squirt and put it on there, and that works as well. And then this goes in here, just like this. And it's the same on this side. A little bit of this here, a little bit of this here, a little bit on the end there, and the end there. And then this slides right in here and right up into there. So now this part is ready to go on the truck because the rotor will hold these guys in place. All right, I have my bolts never seized here to put this rotor holder, the caliper holder, back on. I've got my shoes or pads in place. I need to start this one gently. I need to start this one gently. And now the rotor will hold these kind of in place while I tighten them. And I'm not going to torque these until I get everything in place here. Now when I get the caliper on, I can come back and retorque them. Before I go any further, take my brake cleaner and I pull these shoes out a little bit and I'm going to shoot them. And that gets rid of all the crap. You're ready for the caliper. Okay, we're ready to put the caliper on. These bolts here have Loctite on them, so I am not going to never seize them because these bolts are disposable. When you change your caliper out, you get new ones with it, and I'm just not going to worry about it. So let's get this on here. Okay, we'll just start this bolt a little bit. Caliper is in every sense on. I will tighten it up. And this wrench goes in there and just keeps that from moving. Now I'm not going to tighten this all the way up because the next thing I have to do is get this block cleaned. Then I'm going to attach the block here. Then I'm going to pop this caliper back off, take my bleeder out, and I'm going to get the gravity feed and twisty turny done so that I get all the air out of this caliper, and then I can reinstall it after I get that done. So that's next. This block, I've actually taken all the crap off that I could find on the top and the bottom. So now I'm going to pop this out, put my rag back under here, pop that out, put this on, put this on. I have a crush washer on the top and a crush washer on the bottom, and I will get this on and tightened up. And then I will go ahead and do my bleeding. All right, I'm going to start bleeding this out. I've got my bleeder loose, so I am just going to take it out. And I'm going to let this fill. And when it gets up and starts running out, I will close this back off, take this caliper off, twist and turn it, and get it full. And there it is. All right, the two caliper bolts are out. Now I'm going to pop this off because I haven't pushed on my brake yet. I'm going to take this out and hold it over my rag. And I am going to turn this every direction. Yep, there was one bubble. It looks really good. I only saw one little bubble. Put this back on. Okay, these bolts just started. Yep, it's in. All right, everything is tight. And we clean this all up good here. Tighten in our leader. I never put bleeders in without never sees. All right, now I was very careful and I didn't touch any of this rotor or anything after I sprayed them. Check and make sure that we don't have any leaks here. I'm going to go in and push on the brakes, and I want to see if the pedal goes down any or not. All right, I pumped the crap out of these brakes. It went down a little bit, came up, went down a little bit, came up, and I have no leaks here at all. So I consider this job done. Now we'll get our tire back on, and we're ready to move to the rear. And I'll show you one of those. They're a little different than these, so I'll show you one of those as well. Never quite seen a wheel like this. It's got Allen sets to hold the cover